Fuck that guy though.
Hello, welcome to episode 125 of Chet and John's reassuringly finite gaming playlist. My name's John Denton. With me, as always, Chet Roivas.
Buongiorno a tutti.
2 top 10 lists, 10 being the game we played the least this week, 1 being the game we played the most. Let's stop messing about, let's do this thing.
Okay, my number 10 is a game called Sniper Elite 3 on the Xbox One. I've spoken about it quite a bit. A friend of mine picked it up, so we've played a little bit of co-op, a little bit of multiplayer, and some Horde. And as the person who disliked this game far more than most people, or so it seems, I was kind of gratified to hear the comments of my friend, who is, is our friend Zeno, who is one of the most patient and gracious people I know. He basically tore it a new one. Sniper Elite 3 is just a really sloppy bag of bones, and the numerous modes, all of them, despite how much content it appears to offer, they all feel unfinished. There's no ace, there's no great mode. It's all just kind of half-assed. And I've expressed my misgivings about the multiplayer before, and those misgivings were echoed by Zeno. I mean, like, we played Horde, and we had to stop after the 10th time we had to go and search some lone NPC cowering in a corner somewhere. Because Horde is meant to offer up a load of high-pressure siege scenarios, and this was nothing of the kind. It just felt really under-designed, and the AI was not up to the challenge, even for a Horde mode, which is saying quite a lot. And the big one, the one I was really looking forward to, was Overwatch, which I loved in Sniper Elite 2. And it had a system where basically one of you's a sniper and one of you's on the ground. One of you on the ground fulfills objectives, and the sniper sort of keeps an eye out for you. But you can spot enemies for your teammate when you're on the ground,
right?
But you're not meant to shoot anyone if you're the sniper. And yet, if you're sniping, you can't spot enemies so they can see where they are. It's weird. It seems like a really badly designed mode that wasn't thought through, but then again, that's true of the whole package. So, Sniper Elite 3 it's such a rock solid 4 out of 10 game. It's enjoyable if you don't look past the things that are wrong with it, which are just too numerous for it to be recommended. So, rubbish.
I quite enjoyed what I played, as I spoke about before, but whatever. Can't agree about everything in this life. I'm not going to.
But true. I mean, I'd like for you to play more, because as far as I'm concerned, it just gets worse as it goes.
But the copy Zeno's playing is mine, so.
Oh, of course it is. So, but maybe one day.
Maybe, no chance. But yeah. All right. My number 10. I'll rattle through quickly. It's a game called Tabletop Racing. I've spoken about it as the mobile version before. This is the PlayStation Vita version. I did a review for GamesCom, be out next month or next issue. Same game, a sort of Micro Machine style racer, but shot from behind, shot like any other racing game is, just from behind. On mobile, the entire design of the game was based around classic mobile design, sort of microtransactions and in-app purchases and all that bollocks, sort of informing the design of the game. That stuff's still in the Vita version, despite it costing a $5, which is a bit egregious. But the game is basically designed so you don't really need to be spending extra money on it. The amount of XP and coins and stars and all the other crap that you get seems to be more than enough to stick new wheels on your ice cream van and all that shit. But the game itself is just really boring. It's way, way, way too easy. There's no skill to the driving whatsoever. Yeah. You sort of pop weapons at each other. All of them just slow your car down, and it's just you end up in these. Everybody just starts kind of sticking to each other, firing weapons at each other, and it's annoying in Mario Kart when you get hit by things, but you know that you can repay that, and it doesn't disrupt the flow of an entire race. You'll get hit, but nobody else will around you.
Yeah.
Most of the time. But this is just sort of everybody hitting each other, and then the whole thing just grinds to a halt. It's a mobile game. It's okay. It's not really good enough for a console that recently had that Sonic and Sega Racing for free, if you have PS Plus, which most people do, and also has MotorStorm RC, which is slightly different, but is way, way better. So yeah, it's kind of a tough one. It's perfectly okay. It's all right, but that's not exactly a glowing recommendation.
Yeah. I may or may not echo some of those thoughts when I speak about it in a little bit.
Okay.
My number 9 is Dr. Kawashima's brain training.
Why?
I turned on my Nintendo Wii U and a message came up saying you've received a gift, and I thought, oh wow, I'm not sure that I did receive a gift. I think it was just free. Anyway, it came up saying you've got a free gift, and it was Dr. Kawashima's brain training. And I thought, wow, Nintendo has finally updated what was once a very serious part of their arsenal. Because we were talking about it a few weeks ago. Where's that franchise gone?
Yeah.
Only it's not. It's a straight port of the original DS game. I assume it was given away free randomly as a way of announcing that DS ports are now available to buy on the Wii U store.
Right.
And the port is actually very, very good. I did a couple of brain tests. I messed around with the game a little bit. It's really streamlined and it's really functional. I mean, it's the kind of thing that if you weren't aware of what a phenomenon that game was once, you'd kind of wonder why it wasn't, because it's just slick, really, really, even today. It also recognises your stylus inputs in a way that, this is a game that's been ripped off on iOS multiple times, and it was ripped off on Vita officially by that John Cleese game. I can't even remember what it was called.
Oh, yeah.
But it recognises your stylus inputs in a way that those two pieces, iOS devices and Vita could not handle. So it's more sophisticated in that way. I was happy to get it as a freebie, and the port looks great on a TV and the tablet, actually. So I may play more if they release the right DS. Yeah, if this was just a ploy to try and get you to sort of be mindful of the fact that new DS games are coming, I might play more of them if they release the correct ones, because it was, very effective, very slick. It looked good. It didn't look like a simplified port. It looked actually quite nice on the screen, which is saying something, I suppose. But it's brain training from however many years ago? 10? Is it 10 years old?
9 maybe.
8 years old? Yeah. But I mean, it's still engaging and it's well made, so what can you do? It's all right.
Yeah, fuck that guy there. All right. My number 9 is the first of 9 games that I played at Gamescom, which I came back from today. A very early flight from Germany and a ridiculous journey across the country, I say, from the airport in London to my house, which should be about 2.5 hours away down on the south coast. But it took 4.5 hours and it was fucking miserable. Anyway, hence me being a bit tired and grumpy. But my number 9 is NBA 2K15, which was just sitting there with nobody to play it as I was walking past at one point. So I jumped on with the guys and we had a game. And very good it was too, but I couldn't tell you if it was any different to NBA 2K14 at the moment. There was no accompanying literature or accompanying human being to tell me what was different. And it was the Xbox One version. It looked slightly worse than the PS4 version that I had been playing, but I was about 1 inch away from the TV, so I'm not going to hold it against it. And it just felt pretty much exactly the same. So I don't really know what to say. It was very good, but it could have easily been NBA 2K14, so I don't really have anything more to add to it than that one. Apart from the fact LeBron James was no longer at Miami Heat, and he was in there, and we were playing as Miami Heat, and that was about it.
Oh.
But there will be stuff that's different, I'm sure, but it's probably stuff that you're going to have to be told about that, because the game is already so good, 2K14. It's not like, they fixed that, because it didn't feel like anything needed to be fixed. But, yeah. Who knows? Okay. I didn't play it for long enough.
Was there no interest in it at all?
It was weird. It was hidden in... there was like a little room full of Xbox Ones, and they had 4 different games in this room, but it was a room that you had to go traditionally queue up for. It was like one of those closed-off boxes that you get in these these places. And it was just a weird selection of games in there. I'll talk about another one in a minute. And there was NBA, and there was there was that Tomb Raider game. You remember the one with it's like the top-down one?
Yeah. Oh, they've done a sequel to that, haven't they?
Yeah, I guess that was in there. NBA was in there. This other game I'll talk about in a minute was in it. It was just a weird. I don't really know why the room was there. It's like they just had a bunch of stuff left over and they just shoved it in a room. Okay. So that's why no one was in there. And also it was like the media day, so it's not full of 100,000 Germans. So that's why there's a few consoles available. But NBA is bloody good, but it was always going to be.
Yeah, those games are very funny because I kind of feel for them in that they don't have a wide audience because most people don't care about basketball, but I don't care about basketball and I just think they're tremendously good.
Lots of Americans care about basketball.
Oh, they do, of course. But I mean, it's kind of weird. They come out here and just they're ignored. But then again, who has the time? That's the major issue. Okay, my number 8 is a game, is a thing called PT, which I assume you've heard about this.
Well, no, the first I heard about it was you guys talking about it on on our WhatsApp thing where we chat to people. I somehow missed this completely from despite being at Gamescom, is so busy that you actually know less about what's going on at Gamescom than people who aren't at Gamescom. So no, I hadn't heard anything about it until I came home.
Yeah, I mean, it got announced at Gamescom that it was available, and most people do know about this now. It was originally supposed to be totally cryptic, but a few hours after it arrived on PSN, it was discovered to be a teaser for the new Silent Hill game, which is going to be the result of a collaboration between Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro. And it was, Kojima said that PT stands for Playable Teaser. And I don't want to explain too much about what it actually is, but if you own a PlayStation 4, download it and experience it for yourself. If you can handle it, that is, because every second that I played this, I was pleading with myself to switch it off. Yeah, I mean, really, but conceptually and artistically, it is an absolute knockout. I hope that more games are able to announce themselves to the public in this way. It may not even end up being a particularly accurate representation of what the final product is, but I will take this over 10 gameplay trailers or whatever every single time. This is exactly what a video game trailer should be. Because, I mean, a preview of a book should be a few passages of text, and a preview of a film should be a small collection of footage. But, a video game preview should be something that you can actually play. I should imagine that this was quite costly to produce, and it's definitely, if it's anything, it's a stunt. But I hope that smaller teams are accommodated if they want to bring something as novel as this to a wide audience, because it would be a great thing if this happened more and more. As I've said, I'm sure I've said this before, but as I've gotten older, I've started to feel like watching video game trailers is kind of like smelling a book. It's downright meaningless, and often, frequently, almost deliberately misleading. But yeah, just download PT. It's free. Oh, and it's worth mentioning also that if you aren't chilled by sort of elements of the supernatural, what makes this so unsettling is that it feels so real. Right. I mean, it is almost photorealistic. I know Kojima said that they toned the visuals down so that people wouldn't realise it was running on the Fox engine, but it looks immensely impressive. And I just thought it was absolutely terrifying. I have no idea if I could play a whole game under the degree of stress that I was under while I was playing this, but if it's as good as this, I'll have to have a go. What a tremendous little thing!
I'm very excited to try it out.
If you haven't already, you must. A first, I dare say, and just completely thrilling.
Very excited, and what great news as well for an old school Silent Hill fan like myself.
Yeah,
very pumped about this. Although I don't know if I've got the gumption to play those games like I used to. I don't know if I can handle the stress anymore.
If the finished product is even half as bloody stressful as this, I mean, the thing is, this is a beautiful exploration of a few systems, and it could just be a self-contained thing that has nothing to do with Silent Hill at all. But as a thing to just be announced, download it, have a look. I hope that more things are announced in this fashion, because it's really more than anything, it's just exciting.
Yeah, for sure, it really is. Okay, my number 8 is another game that's going to take a certain amount of stress to deal with. It's Alien Isolation, again on Xbox One, in that same room.
Wow.
This was a very small section where it seemed to be some sort of challenge where you had to get through this level without getting got, basically. And it was deliberately hard. I think that was the idea of this challenge, and it's just basically it was a demo set up to experience the fucking horror of being stalked and then surprised by the alien. Graphically, it was very nice on Xbox One, but there was a weird latency with the right stick, like almost like a half-second latency in input, and I have no idea whether it was just that console, a bug. I'd be amazed if the final game ends up like that. Amazed, because no first-person game's been like that for years and years and years. So I think it might have just been a one-off, and I've not seen it mentioned anywhere in any previews, so I'm not going to really hold it against the game. It kind of made it harder to play. But, I mean, the game itself is, as with PT, certainly how you describe PT, is unbearably tense. Yeah. Moving through this environment, everything's very dark. The game's set up to just unsettle you. Lights dip in and out. You hear the beeping, obviously the classic alien thing, and then it has brilliant lighting as well. So you hear things moving around, and it encourages you obviously to stay very quiet, and there's things you can hide in. And then I heard a noise and turned around and just saw a flash of sort of silhouette of that famous head, and I was like, oh shit. So I just started running, and the second I started running, it made noise and it jumped out the other side and scared the absolute shit out of me, and then killed me straight away. And the thing feels like a proper threat, as they've been promising. Again, how is this going to translate into an 8-hour game? I don't know. But for the 5 or so minutes that this demo lasted, it was amazing. And I watched the guy I was with. He did it as well. He actually did it before me, and his experience was completely different. So it wasn't scripted or anything like that. He got jumped upon at a completely different time in a completely different way, and different things happened. So it wasn't like it was a scripted demo where everything happens in the same way. It was completely emergent and organic. Very interesting. Can I hack that? I don't know. I mean, is that something I want to do with my life? Put myself through that sort of horror? I don't really know. But they certainly nailed the atmosphere. And the fact that that thing feels like something you don't want to be anywhere near under any circumstances.
But it didn't feel like part of the game. It felt like some sort of...
It felt like a mode, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it was like some sort of challenge mode, maybe.
That's
scenario mode.
That seems strange, considering the amount of amazing feedback they've been getting on the campaign. Why would they show off something that sounds quite arcadey?
I really don't know. Sorry, I was just having some water. I really don't know, but then again, it was just in that weird room. Maybe just because they know they're just going to get... In this situation, it's not like they're showing it off to press. It's basically it's there for the public. So
yeah, right.
A quick demo, get in and out within 5 minutes, I'm guessing. But who knows? Who knows? You'd have to ask Creative Assembly, who I believe are only down the road from you. So go and say hello.
All right, maybe I'll do that. It's been a long time since a game, regardless of genre, has gotten the amount of amazing press pre-launch as Isolation has. I mean, I haven't read a bad preview. I haven't read a preview that's not been like gushingly praiseworthy. So I can't wait. I mean, when is it out? Is it next? No, it's October, isn't it?
October, yeah, mid-October.
Is it a downloadable game or is it?
No, it's full.
Oh, it's full
video. Yeah.
Oh, I can't. I'm really genuinely looking forward to that.
Very impressive. Apart from the latency, but like I said, I'm pretty sure that's not actually indicative of what the game will be like.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure. Okay, my number 7 is Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare on the Xbox One. There was another free piece of DLC released the other day called, I think it's called the Subordination Pack? Yeah, something like that. Anyway, it follows the Tactical Party Pack, that released last month or the month before, which included Vanquish mode, and there were some new character bits and bobs, and there was a new map. And this offers a similar amount of content, but ignoring the cosmetic stuff, the new map is called Crash Course, and the new gameplay mode is called Subordination, and it's basically domination. That's it. Right. It works absolutely as flawlessly as you'd expect it to. It is another perfect approximation of a staple FPS game mode. And the new map's another winner. I mean, it's very similar to the main map. I can't remember what it was called. The first map you fight on with all, I think it's called Suburb Rooftops or something. Suburban Rooftops. I can't remember. It's one of the main maps in the game. If you see footage of the game, that's where it's always set.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
It's just set in suburbia, but this is also set in the suburbs, and it's all about using the rooftops to scout and avoiding the choke points and stuff. It's a little, perhaps, unmemorable, but you can't really complain because it's free. And playing this for a few hours the other day, the customizable nature of it is such a major selling point, and the costumes and trinkets are just like they're a wellspring of mad invention. I never appreciated it fully at first because it makes the game even funnier than it is already. Because Garden Warfare never really stopped being amusing. When you were getting hammered, for example, if you were ever playing an objective-based game and you were getting hammered, and the stress and the pressure that you were under made you feel like you were playing something like Battlefield, and then suddenly you're saved by like a cactus and a singing bulb head that's chucks peas everywhere. It was funny anyway, but when that cactus has like fried eggs for eyes and it's wearing a perfectly rendered Roman centurion's helmet, and the bulb thing is wearing like diamond encrusted sunglasses and one of those Ali G bling hats, you kind of want to play it even more just to come across more amusing stuff like that. I hope this game comes to EA Access just so that more people can play it, because it really is terrific. I'm disappointed that there are now microtransactions in there, but they're far from essential. They should. My view is that they just should not be there in the first place. But my hand never felt guided towards spending money. So yeah, I mean, it's a truly great game. It was great when it launched, and it's even greater now with at least a third more content, maybe more than that. They've kept chucking new content at it. So it's terrific. Garden Warfare really is terrific, and I think more people should play it. Really.
Yeah, well, a cracking game.
Yeah,
I would love it to come to EA Access, because I do fancy another go at it, actually.
Have you got EA Access then?
No, I will do. I've not been here, have I, since it launched?
Of course.
I've not been in the country. My number 7 is a game called Not a Hero on PC. Now, have you heard of this at all?
Not a Hero, yeah, I think I have done, yeah.
This is the new action game from the Ollie Ollie guys. That's like a cross between... It's like almost a side-on Hotline Miami meets Elevator Action meets like Gears of War almost. It has this cover system, all done in the really cool pixel art. The demo that I played was just like moving through these skyscrapers, blasting everybody, but you kind of slide into cover using a cool slide mechanic, and then you're having these sort of pop out and shooting things with the enemies. It's difficult to describe. I feel as I'm describing it, I'm making it sound kind of generic, but it doesn't really play like anything else because the cover system, it's all side on, so it's like a depth perception thing. You when you're deeper into the screen, you're in cover, and you can pop out with the arrow keys, but you also can pop out just by shooting. And yeah, it's all about nailing enemies, sliding in and out of cover, like moving forward, and then picking up cool power ups. There's like a gun that you can shoot enemies and they fly backwards, like in Desperado, the film.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, when the guys get shot and they fly all the way backwards into the wall. That was one power-up, and there was like some cool lasers, and it was just... Everything about the game was really stylish. The gameplay was really compelling from the sort of 15 minutes or so that I played. And it's like nicely hard, has that kind of... hardcore, almost experimental is completely the wrong word because it's not experimental, but kind of almost that kind of punk rockish aesthetic that a lot of these indie games have at the moment. Coming from Devolver as well, who are just like hoovering up games like that, it seems. Yeah. And I just dug what I played. They had from creating Ollie Ollie, they had the kind of background already that they've proven that they can do really, really tight gameplay in a 2D game.
Yeah.
And this just kind of feels like it has that kind of tightness and difficulty in a super stylish side-on action game. Just good stuff. I'm excited to play more, definitely.
And it's a PC game?
It's currently a PC game, and then it's launching on, I think, PlayStation consoles a few months later, and maybe Xbox. I can't remember what he said, the guy, but... it's come to Steam first and then consoles shortly after. It's going to be a great fit for consoles, but yeah, it's cool. It's very cool.
That's not the game I thought you were talking about. I got mixed up. There's something with a similar title I was thinking of. But is this happening this year?
No, early next year.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about, and it sounds interesting.
It's been in loads of trailers.
I think
sort of compilation indie trailers, and it just looks stylish as fuck.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to that. That sounds clean. Okay. My number 6 is a game called Proteus on the PlayStation Vita. You've spoken about this a couple of weeks ago, didn't you?
Yeah, before as well.
Back on when it was on PC. Yeah. I played this for well over an hour, and although there were a couple of moments that kind of resonated for me, I was just baffled, but as baffled as you kind of were.
Yeah.
If you don't know, you traverse this very simplistic animated island and you wander around fulfilling vague objectives until all 4 seasons have passed you by. And you can only progress past the first location, the first season, if you stand at a set location at a certain time. And the only way I knew to do that is because I consulted a guide, because I was just wandering around for ages not knowing what the hell to do. But yeah, I played it for well over an hour. I walked around. On random occasions, I seemed to speed up. I found a house that I couldn't enter. I chased some hopping frogs into some water. I chased a bouncing bead of light into some water. I chased a cluster of bats into some water. I walked around and watched some black bees pollinate some flowers. I stared into the sky and watched it appear to change into the ground, and then I lost my perspective, so I thought I was flying briefly. And then this obelisk appeared in the middle of the island. I don't know. I'm really happy for the people who love this so much. And if you read the Guardian's review of this, it is one of the most gushing pieces of games writing I have ever read in my life. There are no real traditional gameplay systems in it, only slightly trippy happenings that occur if you explore. And some people do find exploration a reward in itself. So if that sounds like you, this might really blow your hair back. But I mean, I didn't learn anything. There was a brief flutter of emotion as I watched that cluster of black bees I mentioned disappear down the mountainside as winter approached. But I don't know whether that was all in my head or not. It was very difficult to tell. But I mean, basically, this did not connect with me at all. The music did nothing either. I mean, it's a series of blips and bleeps that kind of changed as you walk past things or look at certain things, but it didn't lift the experience or add anything for me. So it's weird. I'm glad it's out there. I have reasonably positive memories of it, but if someone came up to me and offered to give me that hour of my life back, I'd definitely take it.
Yeah, me too. I'd take your hour back, but yeah, I
don't know.
But again, I just think you could just go outside. And that's such such a twattish thing to say about a game, because you can break anything down. Oh, it's just shooting aliens in space or whatever. You can say that about anything, but I just wasn't getting it, and is it just because it's nice and there's grass? I mean, I don't know. I'll read that piece though. I will read what they say.
No, I mean, it's unbelievable. It's basic. I mean, I think it's a little too gushing, but I am the same as you. It's nice. You can walk around the world. Why not walk around the world, the normal world?
Indeed. My number 6 is The Crew. It was actually running on a PC, I believe, at Gamescom. This is the open world driving game from Ubisoft, where the idea is you can drive all around America to different locations in America, and the map certainly seemed absolutely huge. It was kind of a weird demo. For starters, everything was in German. Fair enough, we're in Germany, but very difficult to understand what the hell was going on. And even though it was just loads of pods set up in this area, there were people running online games, and they were speaking German, obviously. So again, I don't speak any German, which is poor on my part. But at the same time, when someone's trying to explain to you they're setting up a lobby for a race, it's kind of difficult. So that didn't go too well. And then the guy set up a couple of different race events down in sort of the Miami area. And the combination of the general air of confusion, the crappy joypad we're having to play with on the PC, and a game that I will talk about later, which is of a similar ilk. The three of those things combined to kind of leave an underwhelming impression, but it also left me the impression is I really need to play this like kind of on my own terms. What I wanted to do was just have 10 minutes with it, just driving around, experiencing the world, rather than, I think what they were trying to talk up here was the systems and the connectivity and all that sort of stuff. Fine, but in that type of scenario, I don't think it was way too confusing and like stifling. Was sitting in menus a lot, sitting in lobbies. They were like, you can customize your car, look at all the different things you can do. And it's like, I'm not going to sit here and just like fucking around with my spoilers, am I? It's like, I'm going in a minute. So, it was just a poor demo rather than a poor game. But saying that, I'll be talking about something in a minute that, it's going to be tough for The Crew.
Okay. Is this one of the few games that was sort of due to launch at the end of this year that's still launching? It's still coming out in October, November, isn't it?
I believe so, but there's part of me that thinks it's now coming out next year, but it probably isn't. I think it maybe slipped back from earlier this year to later this year. But I think it still is coming out this year. It certainly had its moments. The handling was a bit... I don't know. Listen, I'll talk about another game in a minute and everything will make sense.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, my number 5 is a game called Skyforce 2014 on iOS. I played it on an iPad. It's a remake of a game that came out in 2004 on old phones, so pre-iOS, I think, pre-smartphones. Okay. It was like a really early and very, very revered phone game. This is a really good-looking shooter, and at first it looks so good that it was almost as if my iPad was a sheet of glass and I was looking at physical objects moving underneath it. But as well as being almost photorealistic, it's also kind of chunky and cherubic in the way that things made for children are. Everything just kind of looks a little fat, unnaturally chubby, to try and make them a bit more amiable for kids, maybe. Yeah. It controls, like most games of this type, with you holding your finger over the ship, which fires automatically. And there is a surprisingly nice feeling system where you pick up hostages. You see a hostage and you just hold your finger over it and a dial turns for a second or two. And with tiny movements you can still dodge fire while also picking up the hostage. I don't know, it feels really nice. Also, I don't know whether it's new, but if the second you pull your finger off the screen, the game slows down to like hyper slow motion. So it's both a really handy pause button and it allows you to remove and replot your finger if the game gets confused without penalising. I thought it was a really neat thing. And this is an interesting game in terms of structure because it's an RPG style grind, basically, where you have to build up all of your ship's attributes over time until your ship is just basically a bit of a monster. And it closely resembles the traditional free-to-play model. So I was kind of baffled during the game's opening hour when I couldn't find a way of paying money. You earn stars, you buy things with the stars, and there's even cooldown timers. When you buy things before they deploy, there's this ticker going on. Do you want to speed it up? Use stars. And yet there is no place to buy stars. Except there is. For some reason, and this may be a work of mad genius on the developer's part, the microtransactions are invisible until you've played for a certain period of time. So this is actually a little bit of a difficult one because the controls are ever so slightly sluggish, especially if you compare it to those cave ports on iOS. Your ship doesn't move anywhere near as fast as your finger. But that minor caveat aside, it's pretty excellent. And there is a way, despite the fact that microtransactions are kind of inserted into it covertly after you've played for an hour or so, there is a way by buying a certain sort of booster pack that you can basically pay for the game outright. I'm not as happy with this business model as I am with the one of, say, Phoenix HD, which is another top-down shoot-'em-up on iOS, in which the game's free, but you buy new ships, but the ships fundamentally and completely change the game. It's like you're paying for new modes as well as new ships, but it would be remiss of me to do anything other than rave about this game because it is free, and if you want to buy it outright, you basically can for less than a £5. It's excellent. In addition to Phoenix HD, I was trying to think, there were a couple of others as well, but Skyforce 2014, it's a really, really excellent top-down, old-school shooter it looks tremendous, feels great. Highly recommended. I kind of wish you would be able to pay for it, but that's the thing. If you want to pay for it outright, you basically can.
All right, that sounds okay. Sounds good.
But it's free. Have a look at it. It works great on phones, from what I'm told as well. So you don't have iOS, do you?
Might be on Android.
I think it might be on Android. Yeah. So have a look. Really good. Really good.
Okay. My number 5 then is Far Cry 4 on PlayStation 4.
Oh yeah.
Managed to sneak into the booth, which had been, even on Media Day, had huge queues outside it. Media Day at Gamescom's even 2 years ago, it was pretty much empty. Yeah. But now it's fucking rammed, even on Media Day. Nowhere near as much as when all the kids come, which is just an inescapable hell. But I don't know how there are possibly this many games media people in Europe and the world. It's absurd. There's like thousands of people in there. Anyway, right as their booth was closing, I think, but we managed to kind of convince the people on the door to let us in to have a go, and it basically just dropped you into like a like a gang hideout takedown. What are those places, like gang encampment, the encampment takedowns from Far Cry 3, and just kind of left you to your own devices, really. The area, the encampment was quite big. There's a few different ways of getting in. One of them is there's this new you can rappel, like chuck a grappling hook over a wall, for example, but it seemed to be only in a specific place, and sort of haul yourself up. So I did that to look around. I did that both times because I died once. And then it was just a case of like scanning things through your. It was so similar to Far Cry 3, I have to say. It's unlike Far Cry 2 to Far Cry 3. This is basically all the same systems that we've seen already in the previous game. So the little icons that come up when you've been spotted are the same. The sound effects the same. The sound effect when you spot someone's the same. It's basically identical in that respect. So it did just kind of feel like I was taking down a gang encampment, or whatever you want to call it, from 3. So yeah, just spotted some people, snuck up behind them, shot them with this cool crossbow thing that I had. Everything about it was really, really good. Really good. But it was inescapable how similar it felt like to playing 3. You know, the slide was the same, grabbing a guy and chucking a knife into another guy. I'm sure there is a lot more to it than that, a lot more little moves and things that you can do. And obviously there's co-op, which I did get to play. I looked across at the guy I was with, and he was on the back of an elephant. So I don't know where he found that. So that was fucking cool straight away. Also, when I was playing when you set up the alarms go off and the reinforcements come.
Yeah.
That happened, and a chopper came in and started smashing everything up. So that suggests that you can get in choppers and fly around, which is very cool. Really good, obviously. Playing Far Cry, trying to come up with different ways on the fly of taking out these areas, going loud, going stealth, whatever it is. I mean, it really is the real deal. I can't wait to be able to play it properly in my own time and explore that world, because the brief period you have before you get into the base, when you're just looking around, it's just like staring up at what is, I assume, like Everest in the distance. And yeah, it's such a cool environment that they've managed to create, even in the small amount of it that I saw. It's like a Himalayan landscape. Just keen to go and like see what all the wildlife is, and just go and explore that world. But yeah, for that demo, because of the way it's set up, it didn't feel hugely dissimilar to what we played before. But when what you've played before is so good, can't complain. And nor would I.
Yeah. I mean, if it's just Far Cry 3.5, I'm more than happy with that. Is this still coming out this year?
Definitely, yeah, in November.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, fair play. Okay, good. I'm looking forward to it. I hope that they've toyed with the formula a little bit, but at the same time, I'm more than happy for just more of the same.
Yeah, and it's co-op, like proper co-op. So
the whole campaign is co-op.
Yeah.
For 4 or 2?
I believe for 2, but I think you can drop in as well. So.
Okay. I heard about that, everyone's bigging up the PlayStation 4. You can have a friend who doesn't own Far Cry and they can jump in. It seems a lot less... functional is the wrong word, but it seems like a lot less than what they were promising. It's basically a sort of an enclosed area exclusive to the PlayStation in which you can cause havoc, but you can't do any of the game.
Okay.
I didn't realise that I suppose I was expecting a little bit too much. I thought maybe they'd give you a chunk of the campaign or something like that, but it seems like it's just kind of like it's. If you had one copy of Mario Kart, a friend locally could jump on, but you had to be one. You could only do one track, and you could only be one character. I think it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
But it's still great, but I don't know.
But aren't they doing the thing on the PS4 soon when the new update rolls out, where you can kind of do that with every game? You share your game session with someone else and they can play with you cooperatively.
The only thing I've heard that system being implemented is this, so maybe that's true.
It was announced at Gamescom, this called like Play Share or something. It sounds like the future. It makes absolutely no sense. You share you can share your game session with someone on your friends list and they can play the game with you. It's madness. I don't understand it at all.
That's what I mean. I suppose someone trying to explain the Far Cry system explained that you can jump in and you can run around, and then that's all you can do. So I don't know. I'm an ignoramus. I mean, if there was more about this system announced at Gamescom, I should.
No. This was a PlayStation 4 wide system for all PlayStation 4 games.
Oh no, I know, but I mean this description of how this Far Cry jump in, jump out. Even if you don't have the game system work, was explained in the aftermath of it showing at Gamescom. This was yesterday, I think. So I don't know whether that applies. I don't know whether that applies to the system-wide thing. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I need to watch the press conference for Sony because I was trying to watch it in the hotel room, but the internet was too shit, so I couldn't. So I was following it on Twitter. It sounded good, but yeah, I want to go back and watch a lot of that because it did sound pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, it did to me. I only heard it through the grapevine, but then when I heard about how Far Cry 4 worked, I thought, is every game just going to have a locked off section where you just kind of walk around in essentially a bare room?
I see what you mean, yeah.
I don't know. I shouldn't speak about it because I don't know anything about it, but... Say la vie. My number 4 is tabletop racing. You've spoken about it already. I'll be very brief. Obviously it's on Vita now. The first option when you boot the game up is to go to the garage, and when you go into the garage, the first thing you see is a big flashing symbol that asks if you want to buy coins. And this is the problem, as you said, is that it's still a free to play game, but it costs, isn't it? I thought it was like £7 or something. Maybe
I think it's a fiver.
Okay. But it's still a free-to-play game. It does look quite nice, although it's not... I don't know whether it's the official blurb that I keep hearing, but people keep mentioning that this is kind of a modern homage to Micro Machines, but it's from a traditional car racing perspective rather than top-down.
Yeah.
And yet there's a thoroughly predictable spread of weapons, a rocket, a bomb, so it's kind of a kart racer of sorts, really, but... You know, you participate in races, there's time trials, and you win up to 3 stars per event, and the music is all tinny electronic. It's just electric guitar stuff. I was reading it. It's like, this is an iOS game. It's not a truly awful one, but because I will take thumbsticks over motion control or swiping any day of the week, and it is visually appealing. Everything about it though is just straightforward and kind of simplified, and like you said, really like a little bit easy. Just
way too easy.
Yeah, like, fundamentally, like very, very easy. The loading times are not great. The tracks are really uninspired and quite poorly defined. I found that even after you've learned how the tracks go, you still take wrong turns because there's no definition. Is that road or is that the floor? It's just red. You turn into it because, I kept forgetting, even though I'd learned these tracks or so, I thought. The AI races run an identical lap every time, so there's no excitement because they keep running. They corner the same, they pick up the same collectibles, etc., etc., etc. And the tracks are so narrow that the combat is really dull because there's basically only ever 2 lanes. So you have like 6 vehicles in these tiny little 2 lanes, can't overtake each other. You're all using weapons. It's just a clusterfuck, really. These issues are probably forgivable on a phone, but on a console, even a console with as few racing games as the Vita has, although you did mention a couple that, I suppose it's not completely catastrophic if you want to play racing games. There are a couple of decent ones on there. But what tarnishes it is the payment model because, we say this every week. This is just how the world works now, apparently. Pay us for the game, and if you want to progress at a sensible speed, pay us again or waste a large portion of your life grinding. I hate it. It really does. You didn't seem to find a problem with it. I kept doing races and races and races and just thinking, why am I not progressing? This little amount of stars that I have to buy a certain amount of things is just not going up fast enough for me. So I don't know. This is a passably entertaining iOS game through and through. I just think it's really shitty that you have to pay money for a game and then be expected to, because it's not palatable enough as a game because I really didn't feel like I was progressing through it. I kept seeing that flashing, buy more coins. I was just like, It really sat uneasily. And another thing that I don't think you can turn off, if Sony could make the PlayStation Vita nowadays without having to have the rear touch screen on it, I don't think I know they'd lose nothing, and they could probably save a bit of money because has that ever been used for something that's not rubbish?
It would tear away, but apart from that,
oh, of course. Apart from tear, okay, all right, I'll let it slide because tear away is that great. But if you even slightly tap the rear touch screen when you're playing tabletop racing, you look behind you.
Yeah,
so you all of a sudden, and I was just like, I was holding it like a crab because the rear touchscreen's so big and my hands are so big that I was it was really awkward. I couldn't find a way to turn that off, so that seemed really stupid. But if you want to play tabletop racing, despite the fact that it's definitely better on Vita, just play the iOS version for free.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then, you'll probably... It's not... I don't think it's for us. It's not for the people that listen to this podcast. It's not for the people that follow games day in, day out, really. You'd have already played a much stronger game, I'm sure. Talking of stronger games, stronger racing games, my number 4 is rather good indeed. It's Forza Horizon 2 on Xbox One, obviously. Now, obviously, I was talking about The Crew just before and alluding to a game I was going to talk about later. This is that game. It's a short demo. It wasn't packed at any point, which kind of surprised me a little bit. But then again, people are always heading towards the big shooters at Gamescom. So we actually ended up coming back around a few hours later and playing it again as a different car. It's just a short point-to-point race in wherever the game set is set in the south of France and northern Italy. And you can do it in like a Lamborghini, there's an Aston Martin, and like a Chevy. And it's absolutely stunning. It's absolutely stunning. It was amazing. It looks incredible. Just absolutely gorgeous looking game. And that handling model is the same as Forza Horizons, obviously. It just feels amazing, especially on the Xbox One sticks. You've got the little vibrations in the trigger. The sticks are amazing on that joypad. And yeah, you're just rattling through the sort of it must have been the south of France because you end up on the coast. It's rattling through the south of France in these amazing cars. What can you say? It's Forza Horizon 1 with unbelievably good graphics, slightly even more improved handling, and all of the stuff about that game that was great. I'm not too sure about all the connectivity stuff, how that works, jumping from single player to multiplayer. You couldn't really tell from this demo. All this was like a 5-minute long race where at one point the game steers you off the road and you start smashing through like the brush of the countryside. And if you're doing it from the in-cockpit view, which is for some reason I never play on that view in any game, but I do in Forza Horizon, there's just something about it. And this stuff's just like smashing like past the windscreen, and it's just so exciting. Then you get to a coastal road and it starts raining, and the rain affects the handling, so you're sort of drifting and just managing to keep hold of the back end of this Lamborghini driving at 100 miles an hour around the coastal mountain road. And it's got the rewind thing if you do fuck up as well. And then just bombing through to this like coastal holiday resort type thing at the end, and then that's the end of the race. And I just thought, like, both of us with the guys we were just like, that is absolutely superb. And so we did it again, and I did the Aston Martin on my second race. And I don't know about cars. Everybody knows, anyone who knows me knows I don't know about cars, but like that handled significantly differently to the Lamborghini. It felt like a different experience. The physics of the racing is I cannot wait. The game's out in just over a month, and I'm going to smash the shit out of it. It is just accomplished in a way that few games are, especially games on Xbox One traditionally, since that console's been launched. This doesn't, in that demo anyway, super smooth, looks unbelievable. Like, and actually Forza 5 was kind of next to it in a different, it's like they had a booth for the upload studio for some reason, and Forza 5 was there, and that's a nice looking game. This just blows down the water in terms of how it looks. Blows it out of the water.
Fuck, I can't. I mean, the more I think about it, the more I realise that the first Forza Horizon was basically a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Because it had that sort of semi-seriousness of a Forza game, but it was basically a Criterion rip-off.
Yeah.
You know, is it still going to have that kind of festival thing?
It does. It's all based around a festival.
Oh God, I can't wait. I can't fucking wait. The first game really was tremendously good. I can't
same
wait.
like the pounding electronic music as well, coming from the car radio, and I couldn't wait. I was like, when the demo finishes, it's like out September 30th. I was like, fucking yes, it is. I forgot. It's going to be out in like a matter of minutes, basically.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Great. Oh, that's fantastic. I can't wait for that fucking game.
That's the best game I played at Gamescom.
Oh, is it really?
There's 3 more games to come, but that's the best game I played at Gamescom, definitely.
Fuck. Okay. Spectacular. That's great. I can't wait for that. Okay, my number 3 is a strange game. It's a game called Scram, Kitty and His Buddy on Rails. Is that correct? Yeah. On the Nintendo Wii U, this was on sale for £4 last week. I believe that offer's finished now, so it's back to its original price of £9 or whatever it was. This is an immaculately made and often frequently ingenious game that I think I want absolutely nothing to do with. It's way too early to say. I can't believe that the only reviews I managed to read when it launched didn't mention the difficulty, because Jesus Christ, this is a game that starts hard and just gets incrementally harder and harder very, very quickly. And there's just, I don't know, there's systems in it like, you know, did you get to that bit where you have to make your way to a cat while the camera is looking at it and not you?
Yeah, and you have to switch so you look at the tablet instead of the screen.
No, had you seen anything like that?
How do you mean?
Well, because when I was playing that bit, I was just like, this would be a really neat system if you did have to look at the gamepad to watch yourself. And the cat was on the TV and you had to... I thought that would make those sections quite fun. Definitely easier, but I think they would have made them quite novel, quite fun. But I didn't find that. I was looking at the screen just like, why can't I see where I'm going? And I'm bouncing around and the controls are so fucking incredibly hard to master that I was just bouncing around to nowhere. That's what I thought. I was like, why am I not looking at the tablet to try and sort of give this a bit of... I don't know. This game is really weird. I just... Like everyone else, I don't have anywhere near enough leisure time, and I can't critique this yet because it's very difficult to devote a big chunk of your time to something that... I'm not being paid to review it, so I don't have hours to invest in something like this. And I'm also like you in that I don't like cats, so this definitely it didn't charm me in that way. Although I did like the fact that the game starts and you are told nothing. There are no instructions. You're not told what the controls do or how the game functions even. And sometimes that can feel really obnoxious and alienating, but it worked a treat here. I really enjoyed the process of figuring it out, but... I don't know, it's commendably original, but at this point, I think I'd rather go to the fucking dentist than play it. There's something about it that's just... I don't know, there's a game that you and I are going to talk about, I suspect, rather glowingly in a couple of weeks' time, that has managed to hit upon the perfect formula of being accessible and fearsomely difficult at the same time.
Yeah.
And this is one of those games where I may never get to the heart of it. I may never be able to understand what's so great about it because it's relentlessly, unapologetically difficult. But if being aggressively challenged is the reason you play video games, then I can comfortably say that you have to seek this out. Absolutely no question. But I don't know. I kind of wanted to appraise this at the same time as being I can't because I don't have the hours that are required to try and master this intensely difficult control system. I don't know. I'm going to play it some more, and I'm hoping that I grasp it to so I can progress certain through. But I mean, like when you get to the third level, and it's just like you can't go any further. Go back and find those little hidden collectibles that you don't know where they are. I enjoy the process of finding them, but at the same time, I don't. It's so difficult.
It's so difficult.
Really.
I didn't think what I said when I spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, and again, I didn't play enough to over 70 level game. I think I did like 10 of the levels.
Yeah.
So I wasn't in a position to call whatever I was going to say about it a review, for want of a better term. But I just don't think it earned for that level of difficulty for me. It doesn't have to earn anything and do whatever the fuck it wants. The people that make it can make whatever game they want, obviously. But I don't think it earned. It just, I mean, it's a lot to ask.
Yeah, it is.
It's a lot to ask.
But I mean, the thing, some people like Sudoku. I mean, if someone showed me a Sudoku puzzle, I'd smile politely, and then 2 seconds later would just blow chunks everywhere because I can't handle. I can't handle things that are that difficult. And I felt similar to this. I could feel that it was. There was no doubt in my mind that they wanted to make that game. And people love it for what it is. But I kind of felt gutted that I wasn't allowed to sort of understand what it was. I mean, that bit that I spoke about where you have to reach this cat where you can't see what you're doing. I thought, imagine if I looked down at the tablet, that would have made it a really neat thing, but it would have made it easier, and you got the sense that they don't want to do anything that would make the game easier.
Yeah.
But some people play games like this and they feel like they've climbed Mount Everest, and that's totally fine. A few years ago, I might have been that person. Now I'm kind of... I have a limited amount of leisure time. And like I said, in relation to a game we'll speak about in a few weeks, there's nothing... there is a way to make things that are accessible and playable for everybody while still offering that ridiculous degree of, fearsome difficulty that some people demand. But yeah, it's... I will play it some more. I can't guarantee for how long because it was just alienating, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I tapped out and I won't be going back just because I don't have... Saying obviously you don't have the time once you get into your 30s. Your life changes a lot in your 20s as well. But even when I did have more free time, I don't know if I would have spent it doing that. I've never been that guy. So
I don't know. This is a game where you just have to really get a little bit of something out of being relentlessly punished. But it's so finely tuned that I wanted to kind of understand it a little bit. I'll play it again. For how long, I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of a shame. I kind of feel like games like this are a little bit outdated because they don't have to be that impenetrable to a casual player. I think games these days can be everything to everyone if they're sort of cleverly made. But people love this because of what it is.
Yeah.
So I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to really have to go with it. But I'll play it again at some point.
Good on you. Good on you for getting stuck back in. All right, my number 3 is certainly an everything for everyone type of game. It's FIFA 15 on Xbox One again. A lot of Xbox One. Just played a match on FIFA 15. The most obvious I think we played Barcelona versus Barcelona, keeping it real. The most obvious change, they've talked a lot this year about the emotions. It's all about the emotional side of the game. That basically amounts to cutscenes that are more dynamic as you play, I think, but you just skip them. So, as for the game, it's faster and more responsive than last year's game, noticeably so, straight away. And there's a really nice bunch of animations that weren't in last year's game, like how players will kind of dribble past their opponent and squeeze through gaps. And every year they talk about how it's more physical because they always improve on that, the physics engine every year. But it really did feel like you could sort of lean into your opponent while you're dribbling with the ball and use a lower centre of gravity when you're using someone like Messi or something like that. Yeah. And it played a fun game of football. We had fun, but it's still like FIFA 14, and this is based on one game, so bear that in mind. But like for FIFA 14, the match we played, it was a fun match, but the game just has no midfield. It's like basketball. It's just I attack, you attack, I attack, you attack. Defenders pass it straight to attackers. There's no build-up. And I know when you play against the AI and they defend a lot deeper, you do end up having a bit more of a natural build-up. But then the game still doesn't feel right when you're doing that because it's always like it just doesn't flow like football. And some people don't mind that or notice that or care or disagree, whatever. But it just... When football's a sport about amazing moments, and those amazing moments happen because of the times when they don't happen. That's what makes them amazing. You know, the times where the game does get bogged down for 20 minutes, and FIFA's just, even this new one, it had all that stuff. You know, it's constantly throwing action at you. A lot of people like that, and I do get that. But I'll always be someone that wants to enjoy the beauty of the game, and I know that people call it a beautiful game, it's a bit annoying, but when those moments come naturally and occasionally, rather than another curling shot from 20 yards towards the top corner again. And it really was a fun game. Like, I must reiterate, I don't want to sound too down on it because we had a lot of fun. The other guy that I played really enjoyed it. It was a fun match. Good stuff happened. Good little dribbling. The dribbling's way better, and some of the so-called emotional stuff was quite good. When we let it run out, it felt a bit more like what was happening on the pitch was a bit more real, and the players on the pitch felt like they're a bit more like they're actually part of a football match rather than just a bunch of kind of football robots, which I've always felt that the FIFA players kind of feel like.
So what happened in these cutscenes you're talking about? What happens in them?
So it's stuff like, at the moment in FIFA where, say, you miss a chance and all the players kind of just sort of stand there on the spot and look into the distance and then you go back into the game. But here it's a bit more like Provo has been since 1996, or whenever the fucking first one came out, I think it was 96, where, like, the second something happens, all the players on the pitch react to it in a way that you'd expect them to react to it if you were watching a real football match. So you miss a chance in the last minute, they'll drop to their knees and their hands go on their head, and another player might be berating them or something like that. Yeah. Hit a hard tackle and the guy might react. And it's cool stuff, but most of it's happening in skippable cutscenes. So we straight away we were skipping it because that's what you do. One special shout out though, amazing thing that happened. I don't know why it happened. Sometimes when you're offside and it just cuts to a shot of the linesman just standing there looking blankly at nothing with his flag in the air. Does it? Yeah. But it did that. It was just standing there exactly as normal. And at the very last second, he just raised the corner of his mouth and his tiny little smirk, like, huh? And then it just cut like that. And fucking cracked up. I don't know what that was all about. I hope that happens every single time.
I mean, I've heard them talk about this emotion on the pitch thing, and that seems an incredibly peculiar thing to go after, especially seeing as the core game is quite fucked. Do you think it's better than the PS4, Xbox One versions of FIFA 14?
Yeah, almost definitely straight away.
Okay,
yeah.
all right, okay.
The through balls were still a bit too heavy, but the high through balls were nowhere near as successful as they are in FIFA 14. There was a lot more error on them, even with Messi from 25 yards, 30 yards from goal, and say Pedro makes a good run, and you see the run, and you time the through ball. It wasn't always, one of them would run through to the keeper, one of them would be slightly off in the wrong direction, and one of them would work, rather than you can pick it up with any fucking retarded centre-back from anywhere in the world, and he can ping a flawless 90-yard pass onto the feet of your striker every time like they can in FIFA 14. That's been toned down, but it was still way too easy to get the ball to your strikers from your attackers within one pass and be launching a counter-attack. And, maybe some people find that fun, but I just don't think that's never what I've really enjoyed in football games. And there's been another football game that's not done that since, the fucking 90s. And I'll talk about that in a minute.
Hey, get in. All right, cool. I mean, I'll talk about FIFA 15 next week because I got an email, and no one else I know got this email saying that you're invited to the online beta, which starts next Wednesday or next Thursday. No one I know is apparently just because I play a lot of seasons, but so do a lot of my friends. So I'm quite surprised that I got the email, no one else. But anyway, hopefully I'll talk about it next week. Cool. I'm eager for it to be better than.
But it's out in a few weeks as well. The game.
It is. Yeah, it's soon now. Yeah. Okay, my number 2 was supposed to be two things. It was supposed to be Dota 2 and Surgeon Simulator on the PS4, both of which I've played, but nowhere near enough to make the list. So my number 2, I've just had to slot it in there, is Titanfall, which would be my number 1 because I've played it relentlessly, but I don't have a massive amount to say. The matchmaking system on Xbox One seems to have improved after the last few days because after the new maps dropped, it just seemed to be really problematic. So that's great. My brief spell where I thought that Titanfall had just lost its appeal has subsided, and now my friends and I are just having some tremendous games on it. The last maps, I'm sure we've spoken about this already, but the last batch of maps, I mean, this has been remarkably consistent. The DLC so far, it's only been 6 maps, but they've been pretty terrific, through and through.
Yeah.
But one of the maps, as we've mentioned, has this thing in it where there's a room with a big red flashing pipe in it, and if you shoot it, half of the map gets electrified. It's a neat idea. It's ruined by one thing, which is that there's an achievement attached to it, so that players often hang around by that, as we've said before. But also, I've noticed that whenever we play that map, part of the part of the map that gets electrified is kind of this sort of this side road that raises above everything, so you can kind of look down. So it's beneficial to be up there, which means that this electricity sort of system is kind of justified because you want to try and frazzle anyone who goes up there because they're at an advantage. But people just don't go up there anymore because people stand around this red cable shooting it the whole time. I don't know. It seems like a strange system just because all it's done is people gravitate towards that red cable to shoot it, and then half of the map's basically off limits the whole time, which is a shame because it's a really, really well designed map, and that's a large chunk of it. But anyway, that's it's whatever. The Titanfall's amazing, so that's that.
It is indeed.
Still.
Yeah. My number 2 then is Pro Evolution Soccer 2015 on PlayStation 4. Actually, this time. A bit later in the day, we managed to find one of the many empty PES demo pods, unfortunately. And had a game on that. Italy versus, I was the Dutch, and the guy I was with was Italy. And I have to say, wow, it really is something else. The first time it's been on next gen, and it looks stunning. I mean, it really does look good. The player models, the famous players, look like outstandingly good. Some of them, like Iron Robin, just look like exactly like Iron Robin. The Chiellini from Italy, really, really high standard. And the most amazing thing about it is the animation. It's fucking incredible. Just the dribbling animation, the way even FIFA has this as well, where the shirts ruffle, but it just looks so much better in this new Pro Evo for some reason. And the physics of the way the ball works and the way you dribble it, it was way more responsive than PES 2014. And it just kind of, they've been talking a lot about going back to the Pro Evo glory days and all that stuff. I think, the last 2 Pro Evos have been really, really good. So, but I understand that's a good selling point for them and a good angle for them to attack. And it definitely does feel like that. It's taken away some of the more complicated stuff in the recent games, like none of the tricks are on the right stick anymore. It's all more about, like it used to be, just using a combination of running at the right time and angles with the left stick to dribble. And yeah, you can do step overs and stuff like that as well, but it's gone back to more about just actually analysing what's happening on the pitch and moving in the right direction at the right time, which is how football works. Passing was crisp. The player movement was fantastic. It doesn't have the L1 to make him run in the same way that FIFA does, although there is a way of doing it. But I was the Dutch, like I said, and I had the ball sort of in between, sort of halfway into the opposition's half. And Robin van Persie made like this darting run where he ran back from offside, darted towards the top of the pitch, then span back round and then made a run inside the defender, which you watch football and that's like a run that specific player makes. And then so I just dropped it over the top to him, and that felt completely organic, not like a through ball that just got in because the game decided it would. It was like this amazing run that he did that completely baffled my mate as he was trying to mark him. And put him through on goal, and I think he just ended up just missing his shot or something. But the whole thing just looked fucking fantastic, and I can't wait. The game's not out now till it's November, so they're giving FIFA an almost 2-month head start, which is risky, but it's good because it means hopefully the game's going to come out not fucked, which is massively, massively important. This is the one they've clearly. It feels almost like an all or nothing type of deal. It's like they need to claw back something with this one. It's very, very, very nice looking. First one on next gen. It doesn't feel like they've done what happened when the previous generation changed 8 years ago, whatever it was, and the first one on the Xbox 360 was a bit of a mess, and the previous generation version was way better. This time they've really come strong. It's definitely looked like the decision to not rush ahead with the next gen version for last year was a good idea, and I cannot wait to play more of this because I thought it was outstandingly good. Like, exactly what I was hoping it would be, but looks even better and moves even better. I was seriously blown away by this.
There's a demo 2 weeks before FIFA, isn't there?
Oh, sneaky.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's 2 weeks. Might even be a week, but
it's probably this demo then that was the GamesCom demo, I'd imagine.
Is this the year?
The year that it takes it back?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think FIFA's just. I don't think people are prepared to listen. I was speaking to a few different people when I was over there, and they're like old Pez heads, but they just didn't. They don't want to listen. They want FIFA.
But FIFA's just the same thing again, isn't it?
Yeah, but we're the only two people who don't like it.
I don't know why that is. I'm kind of convinced that people have just, because it's not really a football game, it's a FIFA game. I'm sure that if people played Pro Evo, they'd see the light. Hopefully,
the thing about this one, I will say, is that the last one was an acquired taste because it wasn't very responsive and it was kind of difficult to play, especially if you're used to playing FIFA and you hadn't played Pro Evo for years. The previous Pro Evo was much more accessible, but that wasn't the one that was getting as much press as this one. Sorry, 14. I'm confusing myself here. Yeah. But this one, I can guarantee people can pick up and play it quite easily. It's really easy to control, and the menus and stuff were nice and fast and things. So hopefully people give it a bit more of a time of day than they had done for last year's version. I don't think it'll be like, oh, I can't get to work, because it does work. It's much crisper than it was before. So who knows? Maybe people want to play a football game with a midfield again, because it's just Nigel de Jong played so fucking well in this match. It was like this outstanding individual performance. He scored the winning goal. He was making these crucial tackles. It was like, I can't remember any time where you've played a game of FIFA, and unless it's Messi or Ronaldo, where you've like singled out one single player who's been having an amazing match, especially a defensive midfielder. But in this game, he was the man of the match. He was the best player. He was the guy breaking up all of Italy's attacks. He scored the goal. He was everywhere. It was like this amazing performance from a guy right in the middle of the pitch, which kind of sums up the difference between the two games. I've been trying to rack my brain for why I prefer PES, and it's definitely that. Like, PES has a midfield, and football needs that. That's where the genesis of every passing move, the genesis of every attack in football really comes from midfield, apart from counter-attacks. But you can't just have counter-attacks, because then it becomes basketball. And even basketball's not that. Anyway, that's the point that I'm sticking to from now on. PES was really good. But again, only played one game of each. PES might turn out to be fucking awful and FIFA amazing. So, one game of each. But Pez,
I think it's unlikely.
Me too.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for the demo.
Yeah, but FIFA's definitely better than FIFA 14 already. You could tell straight away.
Okay, good. Well, that's a fucking relief because I couldn't. If it was any worse, I'd bail permanently.
Yeah.
Good. I can't wait to play Pro Evo. My number one is a game called Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze on
nice.
the Nintendo Wii U. I've been meaning to pick this up for a while since it came out, and now felt like the perfect time. The calm before the storm, so to speak. But although every other game due for release this autumn has been pushed back to February, so it's going to be far quieter than usual. But anyway, first off, the game looks amazing.
Yeah.
The Wii U's innards work differently from the other consoles, but as I said with Mario Kart, I don't think that the Xbox One or the PS4 could make a game look this good in this way. It's almost as if this is it's a Nintendo, a second party Nintendo studio making a game for a Nintendo console. It couldn't look like this at all. But aside from the looks, the first impressions were appalling,
Really?
and that's because this is a rotten co-op game. Donkey Kong. Did you play it at all on co-op?
No.
Yeah. Donkey Kong Country, the series, has always been a co-op game to me, and this just isn't. In co-op, it kind of has the demeanour of a scowling child looking at you with folded arms.
Right.
The perspective is locked in pretty tight on the action, and as soon as one of you wanders off screen, a number appears. Number 3 appears above the one of you that's kept on screen. And again, that happens at random. One of you could walk left, one of you can walk right. It seems random which one it will pick. But a number 3 appears... and it counts down very quickly to 1, at which point the other person teleports to your side.
Okay.
And this is a game that's about, to a degree, it's about exploration. But even if it wasn't, the dialogue between me and my girlfriend was just consistently irritated. You know, I've fallen down this hole, I can't see myself, come back. You know, I saw a secret up here, follow me this way. And it just keeps buzzing you back. 3, 2, 1, bang, you're back. So it just wore us down. It really did. Perhaps we'll try it again someday, but it's just like we were quite excited. We've been talking about getting this for ages.
Yeah.
We stuck it on. And it was just like an hour's worth of that. I was just like, I just turned to her and I said, I can't be bothered to do this anymore. It does not feel like a co-op game. But anyway, the next day we tried it again and we played a very, very large chunk of it, just passing the pad between levels and between deaths. And it was a really big relief because I was expecting great things from this game, and it's looking good so far. I think the Wii one is one of the best platform games of all time. I was always more of a Donkey Kong Country person than a Super Mario World person. I think that the first Donkey Kong Country was actually better than Super Mario World, but the Wii one, the Donkey Kong Country Returns, that's one of the best platform games of all time in my opinion, and this is the sequel to it, so I was expecting great things. And for the first, we did about 2 hours passing the pad, and it's just unbelievably inventive. It looks amazing. It feels good. Too early to say, but I'm going to play it. I hope we're probably going to complete it in the next 2 weeks, just to get it done. But once we got past that terrible first, I mean, its failure as a co-op game was a real surprise. But doing it on taking it in turns, life by life. Tremendously good so far. I mean, it's as good as I was hoping it.
It gets better too. Just keeps getting better and better and better.
I've no doubt. I mean, I'm relieved. Honestly, I was relieved after that because
there were some amazing levels sort of midway through the game.
Okay,
truly amazing. It sort of hits this run of form about halfway through the game, where it's just one after another. Just really amazing levels, like types which you haven't seen in anything else before, really.
Great.
And then it just goes rock fucking hard at the end. So I still haven't finished it, but I will do.
Okay. Well, hopefully I will do too, but I'll speak about it next week. But yeah, I'm kind of glowing with sort of. I was worried, and it's a real relief to know that it's potentially as good as I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, definitely. Okay then, my number one, the game I played the most at Gamescom is Call of Duty Advanced Warfare on Xbox One. Yep. Okay, so I was at the multiplayer reveal thing from Monday. We got a chance to play, I think, about 4 matches at the end of that. And then on Wednesday, I was at another event in the Gamescom, in the hall itself, on their stand, where I probably played. Yeah, I think I played another 4 or 5 matches. So a good chunk of time playing the game. I guess I'll break it down from the beginning. In Advanced Warfare, you have a thing called an exosuit, which is from the single player, but it's also a key component in the multiplayer. It basically allows your soldier to double jump and to kind of dash left and right, and then mid-air dash as well. And it is a pretty cool new way of playing Call of Duty. It definitely makes the game feel different to how it's felt before, but it still retains a lot of that core Call of Duty Christmas in the shooting. I say Christmas then, crispness in the shooting, and quick aim down the sights, slight auto aim. We all know how that feels. Everybody's pretty much played this game, so that's still there. But it certainly has an element of Unreal Tournament to it now, and an element of obviously Titanfall with these double jumping, jetpacking soldiers all over the place. First game we played was a team deathmatch. And the first impressions weren't great, not helped by the fact that I'm pretty sure there were actual professional Call of Duty players on the other team. And I'm not talking about those annoying kids who are really good. I mean professional players. They were getting like 40 kills and 2 deaths or so. It was just, I didn't even know what was happening. That's not a good first impression of anything, because I'm not brilliant at this game at the best of times. And that was just... murderous. But during the second event I went to, it was just more regular folk, so it was a much more enjoyable time, and played team deathmatch again first time there, and enjoyed it myself. The kind of leveling up system and the gun, the picking all your loadouts and stuff is absolutely enormous and incredibly complicated this year. There's they had the pick 10 system in one of them where you could pick
Black
10.
Ops 2, yeah.
Now it's pick 13, so you can modify your kill streaks in that, and you can even choose to not have kill streaks. And then there's all these guns. But there's also, you get like supply. You do some stuff in matches, and you like win crates, and you go back in between matches, and you open a crate, and you get random loot. And some of that would be like gun attachments or like rare stuff. It's fucking just boggles the mind how much there is in there. It's going to make all that stuff. It's really good. Like what they've included, they've kind of got that typical Call of Duty leveling up unlocks. You always feel like you're earning something. You always feel like you've got a new toy to play with. Plus, had a real Destiny feel to it. It was like, oh, what's this? What's this? What have I got? Have you got this? Have you seen this type of thing? So a real nice combination there. People are gonna love it. The fan base is gonna absolutely love all this. It was a bit much for an event where you're having a couple of games, obviously, but it did seem very cool, and a really, really neat feature that they put in it. Actually, when you're just having a look at what gun you're going to pick, you can just hit start, and it will instantly load you into a shooting range with that gun. So you can just do some target practice. Really nice feature. I expect to see that appearing in a lot of shooters. Just instantly loading and instantly loading out of it. Lovely feature. But I guess the most interesting thing to talk about is how the game plays when you've got these exosuits, and it takes a while to get used to, because the dash is on the left stick. It's a click of the left stick. So it's not like in Titanfall where you press AA when you're in the Titan to slide left and right. You need to click, and for the first few games I just wasn't getting it at all. It just didn't seem to be working. It's something that's going to take a while to get used to, and it definitely works better when you do it in midair, I find. So after a while I was getting to the point where I was double jumping, then dashing right to kind of go to a new piece of geometry or the top of a building. The more you play, the more you're going to be able to do that really well. And I also like the idea that if you're being shot by someone, you have a chance, even if you're not aiming at them, to quickly dash out of the way and save your own life. One of the things that I love about Titanfall is that even if you get caught from behind, you've always got a chance of like hitting the stim button if you have that quick and getting away, or doing some clever wall running and stuff. And it feels Call of Duty needed something like this, I think, because it was getting stale as much as people love it. And it doesn't have the free-flowing, relentless pace of Titanfall. Like, it just doesn't. It doesn't feel anywhere near as good as Titanfall feels, but it does feel pretty cool in its own way. And COD is still good. It's always going to be, shooting someone in COD is still always going to be fun. It just is. So it definitely had that going for it. Team Deathmatch was Team Deathmatch. They brought back Hardpoint. A lot of people in the audience, when they said that, were really happy. I was just like, I don't don't care. It's just let's just talk about something else. But they have put this new mode in there, which is really fucking cool. It's called Uplink, and it's basically like a sport. There are two spherical goals at either end of the map, and the idea is you basically the teams have to pick up this thing, which is basically an oddball from Halo. It's called like a satellite uplink or something. I don't. Did you see it in the trailer?
I didn't. No, I haven't seen the trailer, but I think they had a similar mode in Ghosts. I think they had it. It was named after some kind of American football terminology, but I'm pretty sure there was something like that in Ghosts that we played.
Did it have a ball that you could pass to the other players?
I don't know. I think once you dropped it, that was it. I don't know if you could pass it.
Yeah, this is. I'm pretty sure they were talking about it as if it was completely new. So
okay.
So you basically pick up an oddball, and at that point you can't. You can melee. It's the same. You can melee with it, but you can't. You can't fire. If you throw it through the opposition goal, you get 1 point. If you double jump through it with it in your hands, you get 2 points. But you can press the right trigger to throw it, or you can press the left trigger to pass it. So it's like passing. It's an actual integral part of the game. And also you can do this cool thing where if someone jumps out at you and they're about to shoot you, you can pass it to them. They automatically catch it, lose their weapon. You can shoot them and keep going. So nailing that is pretty satisfying. And suddenly, if someone does it to you, you're like motherfucker, because suddenly you've got this ball in your hand. And it's a cool little thing. Whether that turns into an exploit going forward, I don't know. But this mode's great. Quite frankly, it's a combat. You've got the COD shooting, still a lot of blasting, people getting a lot of kills, but constantly focused around getting this ball, using teamwork and scoring points. A really, really fun mode, really inventive mode. I was very impressed by that. I thought that was the coolest thing in the game, definitely, so far, from what I played. Would like to see more stuff like that appearing in other shooters. I'd love to see some sort of sport-type thing invented for Titanfall down the road. So that was cool, and you could tell, one thing you could tell with the guys from Sledgehammer up on the stage, and I've met Glenn Schofield from Sledgehammer before. He's the guy who was on the first Dead Space. Sounds a bit like Bender or Marcus Phoenix. And he's a really cool guy. He's very, very smart, but kind of very passionate and laid back and funny. He looks a bit like a retired wrestler. And you could tell these guys, this has been a 3-year development cycle, and you can tell, they really, really give a shit. They want to bring this game back to where they think it should be. Personally, from what I played, it didn't do for me what Titanfall does, but at the same time, it certainly was the most fun I've had playing COD in a while. And I actually saw myself playing it as opposed to recently when it's just like, I'm not doing this again, I'm not good enough at it, it's too annoying to play people who are just camping in corners. It did seem like there was not going to be a lot of camping as well, because there's also like there's stuff like the little character abilities like from Titanfall. So one of them is the ability to hover, another one's like I think it's even called a stim, where you can boost your health. There was a few more, like one where you can instantly generate a plasma shield in front of you and then put it down. So there's going to be a lot of variety to it, and it was cool. I mean, they've come in and basically really shaken up one of the most entrenched and established and risky to fuck with franchises that there are, and they've come and done it. They really have. Does it feel as nice as wall running, double jumping in Titanfall? No, but I think fair play that they've come and they're really trying to shake it up, and it does seem to have worked. So yeah, I'm pumped to play more, but I think I can't just compare everything to Titanfall forever, because that game's something else. But good on them for trying. That sounded really patronising. Didn't mean it to. If I fair play, I'll definitely be playing some COD this year.
Is it? I mean, it's great that they're experimenting, because the last time they did it was Black Ops 2, and that was the best COD in a couple of years. So it's only really Ghosts that's standing in between this and that.
True.
I know they've spoken about the 3-year development cycle and said, if anyone suggested that this is a response to Titanfall, they said, we were developing this 3 years ago. Go fuck yourself. But does it feel like a response to Titanfall?
Some of it does, but I don't know how long they've had this stuff in there. The movement stuff, you can't know. But yeah, some of it does, certainly, like the character abilities and things. But then again, some of the lateral dashes and things like that were in Unreal Tournament years ago. So
right.
There's definitely elements of that as well. To give him the benefit of the doubt, it really feels like they've just gone, what does this game need to be more organic, to feel better, to not just feel like the same steady Call of Duty game that you've been playing since 2005 or whatever. It definitely feels different. It's good. I was talking to some of the YouTubers and stuff who are there who just do COD, and they're excited about it. They were kind of wary of how different it feels to play, but like I said, it's still, you can run into a room, snap your sight to someone's head, get that. It's still that. It's still Call of Duty. So yeah, pleasantly surprised and enjoyed it. Well, the second session, the first session was a nightmare, but that was the game's fault.
Yeah. It does seem strange to me that they've made the upgrade system so complicated, especially when one of the great things about Titanfall it was so simple. So that's a strange direction to go.
It's only complicated because there's so much to it, but if you've played the last few Call of Duties, 90% of it is the same, with a few little tweaks for that side of things. And then basically, like, you'll say you got a supply drop, you go back after the match, you press a button, a crate opens, and it goes, you got these 3 things. 2 of them will be like, one will be like a new pair of boots, another will be a new hat, because it has player customization, like cosmetic customization in it this year. And another one would be like a gun that, like maybe a different coloured version of the gun or slightly different stats or something. I wouldn't say it was complicated to the point that I didn't know what I was doing, because I did. It was just too much to try and really experiment with in that type of situation, that type of event type situation. But the big shout again for the firing range. It really is a great idea when you want to see what your new gun's like. Great idea.
It sounds like they're trying to put microtransactions in.
Yeah, just as I was saying that then, I was like, maybe, but I don't know. We shall see. I'd be surprised, because they've always been kind of anti that Activision.
Yeah, I mean, we will see. It does sound like that's the idea of opening a pack and here's some free stuff. Would you like to buy even better free stuff, etc., etc. But yeah, I'm really looking. There is still, for better or for worse, there's nothing quite like this sort of the few days before and after the launch of a new COD, because everyone's anticipating it. Everyone ends up getting it, and if it's good, it's the topic of conversation. It's kind of like a miniature Christmas. So I'm looking forward to the new one.
Yeah, and Modern Warfare 3's campaign was corking, I thought. So then that was the last Sledgehammer one.
I liked that campaign too. I mean, yeah, the multiplayer didn't hold up.
No.
But yeah, I always look forward to those games, because they are, even when they're not amazing, or even when they're sort of bordering on being terrible, they're still okay.
Yeah.
At least. Cool. Okay. All right. Well, that is us done. Thank you very much for listening. Check us out. We're on Twitter, Facebook, etc. At Chet Rovers, at John Denton, at Chet and John's on Twitter. We're on Facebook, etc. We're on YouTube. There's videos going up there all the time. And that's it, I think. We'll probably be back next week, almost certainly. Thank you very much for listening. See you next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Tastes like fermented herring dipped in cat piss. Ugh.